Good evening, or good morning, or good afternoon, or whatever time it is for you. I am John Harder, and I want to again come to you with another live broadcast about TBC, addressing the TBC community. We live in the most I think I would have to say it's probably the most emotional time that it has ever been. Uh, there are so many emotions. There's so much hatred and so much anger and so much fear. And, I would like to just, talk to us a little bit about letting go of all of that fear, definitely, but all of the hatred, all of the resentment. We probably look at it as that the elite, they really haven't been fair with us because of what they have been planning all these years and have been working on all these years in the dark, in secret, trying to bring all of this about, their entire agenda, without us ever catching on what was going on. And the way they have written it in their script is that it will be swift destruction. That's the way they wrote it. That it was swift destruction was going to be like pretty much instantly. It would come upon everyone without, out of nowhere, having no clue who's behind it or anything. Basically, that we would all think that it's it's the vengeance of the Almighty. That's how their script gives it. What script am I referring to? The Bible. The Bible. It's written by them. It's their script. They've been trying to fulfill their own script. We used to call it prophecies. And that's what they want us to believe. They want us to believe that those are prophecies. But it's their script. They're trying to live out and fulfill what they've written in their script. Hundreds, and possibly even some of it may even be dating back thousands of years. Folks, we can't afford to sit and blame the elite. We can't afford to sit and blame people for, them for what has been happening. Let me put it to you this way. There is no way that they could have pulled any of that off without our help. They absolutely had to have our help in order to do it. So we actually did it together with them. Now, we could, of course, say, yeah, but they tricked us. Well, if we would have been vigilant and would have been in tune with you know, with the higher self within us, or the subconscious, or whatever you want to call that power. You know, some call it the subconscious, some call it infinite intelligence, some call it God. It really doesn't make much of a difference what the name is, but there is this life force which is ever there, and all things proceed from it. Everything, even our thoughts, even our very own thinking comes from it. I can't. Now, with our thoughts, we actually do have the power to change our thinking. But the desires that we have, those come from that higher place, from the inner self, from the life principle itself. That's where our desires for a better life, for all the good that we want in life, that's where that all comes from. Now, as you have probably noticed and heard from others who know a lot of the practices of those elite, if that's what we want to call them, I guess, for a lack of a better term, I guess I may as well just call them elite. I don't know what else to really give them, but these people are Satanists. They actually they worship Lucifer and stuff like that, right? And so for all of this time, these so many years, and meanwhile, every one of us, we had deep within ourselves, there was something telling us that something is drastically wrong. It's just way off. It's just way off. How did we know that? Well, the truth is abundance. That is the truth. Well, that's not what we were experiencing. So something within us was already telling us that something wasn't right, because the truth is abundance. The truth is peace. The truth is confidence. The truth is, you know, all of the good things that we have the desires for. All of that is the truth. That is how life is meant to be. That is the truth. Because of that, because of those desires, because of that desire for truth, is how come TBC has come about. You know, I highly admire the person that had that kind of vision. And it was likely not just one person, but if it was, I admire that person, and I admire all the people who went forward and went ahead and created that that monetary system. I don't want to call it currency because it's way more than currency. But TBC, as it has been made, you know, the guts, if you want to say it that way, but the how do I want to put it? It's you know, what I'm talking about is this: when you get this wonderful idea, just a great idea, and you're all excited about it, and as a few days go by and you don't, yeah, never really did anything. Oh yeah, you were totally excited about it at first, and you definitely wanted to do it, but maybe you talked to somebody, they weren't all that excited about it, and next thing you know, you you totally lost your interest. What happened? Think of how easily that could have happened with the creators of TBC. How easily that could have happened, and we wouldn't have it. And yet, right now, that is the single most effective tool that we can use to make the monetary system obsolete. It is the single most powerful tool to do that with, is TBC. Okay, so I wanna go on a blog post a little bit and share something from the blog. Okay, so I'm gonna share the screen for a little bit. I am live, right? Am I not live here on the? Okay, so here on this blog, there's okay, the elite took over the world using a four-letter word poster video article. Okay, so this is Tom Hanks, Castaway. Tom Hanks. And it's his video. It's an interesting video, actually. So here it says, when you take the time to study the lifestyle of the elite, you have to wonder how they go away with doing so much evil, how they got away with doing so much evil and still remain in the most powerful positions to run the whole world. Naturally, evil has a much harder time in entrenching itself than good. The mass majority of good people accept good things without hesitation. Evil generally is quickly rejected by the good people because it's destructive. Nature is so obvious to a good person. This makes being a successful evil person very complicated. Evil requires a certain level of insanity. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's definitely right. Definitely correct. A certain level of insanity uh, to persist. Somehow, an evil person needs to be so self-deluded so that they can embrace evil uh, privately while remaining highly convincing to those within their socioeconomic uh, circles that they too are a good person doing the right thing. Evil people are simply bored wholesome self with their wholesome lifestyle with the wholesome lifestyle that good people naturally follow. Too simple for their tastes. The global elite of the world are multi-generational offspring, uh, spawning insatiable appetites for the most heinous practices even conceivable to a human being. So evil, the elite are, you can hardly categorize them as being human still. Compassion has been bred out of them long ago. Yes. What these people do to others and also to their own children is beyond disgusting. Pizzagate is a recent term that can lead you towards a glimpse into their dark secret world of atrocities against innocent children. Please read. Oy, oy, oy. The elite place a super high value on education. Ivy League universities are filled with the children of the elite, and pretty much they are the only ones who can afford to send their children there. Okay, so that is, I haven't really gone very deep into what exactly they are doing, but I have come across some of it, and it's just pretty bad, the things that they are doing to not just us people, but also to their own offspring, their own children. It's heinous. Actually, okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. All right, here we are. Okay, so this is why we need TBC, because we want, as much as we have, our children may have been protected from that kind of thing. And we, for the most part, for many years, I had a handful of excuses that I used quite frequently for my misery and my failures, because I was a child that was under abuse, as when I was younger, sexual abuse, as well as growing up with my siblings who, well, my older siblings. I was the youngest of four, and then my mother had passed away, and my dad remarried, and when I read some of the way the elite work, I can actually relate quite well, because I grew up with that kind of my stepmom was a lot like that. Now, just you know, always lies, beating us up, and all those kind of things, right? And for many years, to me, that was my excuse. I used those kind of things for an excuse because you know, I was, after all, so you know, had been so abused all the time, and so my temper, that was a perfect excuse for having a horrible temper, and you know, and mistreating others and things like that. But you know, a number of years ago now, it started in 2009 when I began educating myself. And it took me a few years before I actually even started taking responsibility. It wasn't an overnight thing for me. It took a lot of learning and a lot of understanding of how our mind works, how my mind works, how I can change my thinking, and how I can take responsibility for my own life. And I enjoyed uh, Randy Wilson's video where he, you know, the video with the title "Stand for Something," and I could relate quite well with some of the things he was saying. And I was thinking that, you know, maybe he did have a tough time, but uh, I was thinking that, you know, few people understand what it's like to live under the beatings that especially one of my brothers and one of my sisters had to endure. Now, me, I wasn't nearly I wasn't abused nearly as much as they were. I had a very, very high temper, and I think that that my stepmom, I think she knew that I was a little too much like a like a grenade without a pin. You never knew she never knew what I would end up doing. And so therefore I didn't nearly get the beatings that they did, because they just took it. And I sometimes said to my brother, I can't understand. I just don't understand how you keep on taking that, because there was no way that I would. And so eventually I actually took a stand to the point that I exposed the whole thing. I had two older brothers, and then my older sister. And my oldest brother, he was spared quite a bit more too, not as much as me maybe, but he was spared quite a bit too. And all at once, because of, it was always lies, you know, if we you know, Dad was hardly ever home. He was just gone all the time, and I can understand now why. Back then it didn't make any sense to me, because when he was home, we had peace. It was worked good, but he was hardly ever home. And then when he would come home, then there would be a stack of lies ready for him to beat us, which again, it usually didn't involve me as much, because again, I think she knew that she wouldn't be able to get away with it with me, because I would find a way to expose her, which I did. And when I finally did, uh, that that helped a great deal for the others as well. So excuse me. But after she was exposed, from that point on, it was much easier on us, because now we had regained a lot of power. She couldn't nearly do what she wanted to do before, or what she always did before, because she knew that that it wasn't hidden anymore. And this is exactly the same thing with the elite. The truth is out, folks. The truth is out. Now, unfortunately, unfortunately, right now, I believe they're pulling every string they possibly can think of to try and still fulfill their agenda. But, folks, if we hate them and are resentful toward them, then we are still putting our energy towards helping them. Maybe that doesn't make any sense to you, but if you are going to make contact with your higher self and understand your deep within yourself and understand the truth, it will become clear to you. It will become clear to you that hating and being angry is not the answer. That is not the answer, because that is the wrong energy. You are an energy field within the nature of creation, and the energy that is natural is happiness and gratitude. Those are the natural feelings of nature that would be our natural response of joy to the life that we've been given. Okay, so there is this natural energy, which is life itself, and it is made up of love and gratitude and peace and joy and all of those good things that we want in our life, all of those good things. Now we can push that away with anger and so on, but in doing that, and blaming the elite for what the world is and being angry with them, doing that, we are putting our energy towards helping them. So let's get our focus off of that. If that's how you feel, then I have a suggestion. I have a suggestion that you quiet your mind. Quiet your mind down completely. Completely stop the wheels. Stop it from rolling, and just get so quiet that you can just hear yourself breathe and basically nothing else. And keep yourself quiet, for at least 5 minutes. And start finding gratitude within yourself for the good that you still have. And take your focus completely off of the elite and what they do and what they've done and all of that. Get your mind off of that. And look for the good that we can create. Look for the good that, we have TBC. If that isn't something to be grateful for, then, well, then find other things to be grateful for, but you have life. You have life. That is a gift right there. Within that life that you have also desires for good. You have desires for love. You have desires for for the knowledge of the truth. You have desires for a better life. I'm off the okay. So you have the desires for good, and those desires, they come from the life principle itself. TBC has been given to us as an aid to help fulfill those desires. And we are incredibly intelligent. The life principle. Thank you so much for joining, Sharon and Brian. Thank you. I appreciate it. Now, this is why I so much enjoy TBC and try to find ways to get it so that a lot more people will want it. And try to I'm trying also, wherever I can, I try to fit it in with other deals. Anything that I can do, I fit it in to try to get people, to grab TBC as along with it, because that is our tool. The more we start using that instead of money, we've got to get creative. And I know that one of the things that people are very scared of, well, is it legal or not? Let's see. Was it legal that the central banks that they operated the way they did? Was that legal? Is it legal that in Canada we don't even we haven't even had a legal government since 1931? When the contract with England expired, and it had been written on the old contract that it couldn't be renewed. And when the prime minister wanted to know what he should do about it, well, they said just pretend that nothing has changed, and that's where we are. That's where we are. The contract expired back in 1931, and since then, who have we been paying our taxes to? Because the government that's here isn't ours. And yet the same things are being rolled out here as in the US. I think we're probably behind a little bit, but the same things are happening, just with maybe quite a bit less aggression at this point. But I believe that when that movie comes out, which is supposed to come out in August, and the Canadian people through that movie will actually realize how they've been taken. I'm really looking forward to a very favorable response that we're going to end up having a new government put in place that we as people put in. So, but anyway. And then I got thinking, that is Canada the only country that's like that? And actually it's not. There's other countries as well that basically have the same deal. So the whole thing is a hoax. So if all that is legal, then I have sort of lost my perspective as to what's legal. And so I think I think that we need to just make every move we possibly can towards freeing ourselves. It's our duty, and for ourselves and our children and grandchildren. You know, now we know. Now we know the truth, and it is written in their own script that we should know the truth, and the truth should set us free. So once we know the truth, then we will be set free if we take the steps towards it anyways. Thank you so much, Brian, for hanging out with me and Sharon. I really appreciate it. I hope I didn't get too emotional for you here. But I had been watching Randy's movie and our video, and it just reminded me so much of how I was years ago. How I, you know, I had such a big pile of excuses for not taking responsibility of my life, and and I'm glad, you know, I'm glad that we're learning this truth, because you know it does help us to take that responsibility that we need to take, right? So I just really appreciate that. So let's move forward. Let's get TBC in as many hands as we possibly can, and eventually it'll be our monetary system. We will completely forget that banks exist or ever have existed. Thank you so much for being with me again, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Peace.